Welcome back to X and O's to Joe's. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. They're starting that you're able to go out, starting smart. Wear your mask. I actually have my face cover right underneath. I was sitting back talking with a colleague, talking about trap, and I had decided that I don't really like influence. Welcome back to X and O's to Joe's. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Happy that you're able to join us again. I just needed to get out, so I came out. I'm still practicing social distancing. So one of the first things I want to tell you is that if you're in a state where they're starting to loosen up and starting to reopen businesses, please be careful. Don't be the government's guinea pig. Don't be the person that's out there to see just how much people are going to catch if they're out there in this. So practice your social distancing still. If you have to go out, be smart. Wear your mask. I actually have my face cover right underneath right now. Make sure that you have a mask on or something that covers your face. Remember that something is always better than nothing, and be safe out there. But I was sitting back talking with a colleague and a friend of mine who was a defensive coordinator, and we were talking about trap, and I had decided that I don't really like influencing on the trap. And what I mean by influencing is that a lot of times when we run trap, it's just the basic, this guy goes and this guy goes and this guy gets trapped by the backside guard. And that's all well and good, but some people like to influence that three technique and that outside linebacker by pulling the front side guard. And the hope is that this linebacker will follow. Now the problem with that is simple. If the linebacker doesn't follow, your running backs getting met in the hole, like absolutely for sure. So I started to think, okay, well, what are some other options in order to be able to influence block, or excuse me, not to influence block, but to be able to influence that three technique in the linebacker that doesn't let me get my running back killed. So I came up with a couple things. I want to show them to you. If you like them, feel free to use them. If you don't, throw it away, because not everything's for everybody. But I found them intriguing, and I wanted to share them with you. So let's get to it. Now, I personally believe that the best 2, 1. Now, I personally believe that the best way to run trap is when you spread them out. Doesn't mean it's the only way you can run trap, but I like the idea of getting as many people out of the box so that we can come in. But there's still this element of influence that I have not been able to get, because I am not willing to take this guy and bring him here when I know that normally I would be sending him for this backside guy. So how do I do this? How do I make this happen? Well, what's going to happen if this guy pulls? If he pulls, the 3 technique, if he's in a 3, should get into his hip pocket and follow him. So if this guard pulls, this guy should widen. He should try to keep him from pulling and or get into his hip pocket and follow him and try to trace the ball. Now, perfect. That sets up what we want to do with the trap, but it also leaves us vulnerable here and here, because if that guy does that and this tackle is supposed to be coming for this front side linebacker, we kind of have a bad play. It's a bad play right now. So how can I get that to work the same way and then get these guys blocked? So I started just trying to play with some things and see if they work. One thing I came up with as an influence to get this guy to move out and this guy to come is to almost X block. So now my tackle is going to release for the backside linebacker. He's going to jab, open up outside, and come straight up for the front side backer. Now, this should hold these guys long enough to where this action can take place. We've got the back, He's there. He's pulling, and I'm going to show him going through because I want him pulling into the line to be able to kick that 3 technique. Now, this guy right here is going to be held outside. Now, how is he going to be held outside, you might be asking? Because everything we do in this, with this quarterback, is predicated on being 11 on 11. So, if this guy crashes down when he sees this action, if he crashes down, that guy's going to just pull it and take off. There's nobody left out there. We're out here. Here we're good. We're block man on out there. So if that guy wants to crash down to try to take away the opportunity for this guy to climb, this quarterback's just going to pull it. Same business for the running back. So he's coming down midline, and then he's going to work to the open space. So he should be able to ride that wave. This tackle has enough time because this guy's on the backside that if he blitzes, he's not going to worry about him. He's just going to work to the 3rd level. And if he tries to do what he should do, which is scrape, stack, spot, he's going to be there to make the block. That guy, when he reads here, should move this way when he sees this guy open up, and then that's a big on big block for that guy. So I would call this trap X read. Trap X read. So trap X read, because again, we're going to read here, we're going to trap here, we're going to X the block on the linebackers. So our regular trap, then our trap X read. So that is one way that I have found, theoretically, that you can influence this 3 technique and the linebacker without sacrificing this guy in your blocking. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you one other way that I have found out of a different formation to be able to influence the 3 technique without giving away what we want to do in the blocking scheme. Now, there's another way that I've figured out how you can run a trap from the spread where you influence with the guard making that motion or some type of movement out away from where you want the trap to happen to influence the linebacker. This I call a fold H kick. A fold H kick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call my slot guy into motion. I'm going to snap it. When he gets right to the tackle. Now, the action here is going to be as such. My guard still going to pull. This time he's pulling with the idea of influencing full. This tackle still going to work to the front side linebacker, who should widen out with the influence pull. We're going to get the block back by the center, but the backside guard, and the block back by the tackle, but the backside guard, instead of him kicking, he's going to fold quickly for the backside linebacker. The H, who is following, is going to become the guy who kicks. So now we have our reverse out action. They've got to respect here. This guy is coming down, riding the wave. So an opportunity to influence here, fold for the linebacker, block back, get to the front side backer, this guy come through and kick. And I always like to tell people to remember that this does not have to be a knockout shot. It just has to be a seal. So as long as you seal this 3 technique, who should be trying to get hands on this guard and not let him pull, everybody else will take care of the rest of the business. So it doesn't have to be, this doesn't have to be some big burly guy who kind of gives away when you're going to do it. If you've got a scrappy back, or if you've got a scrappy slot that doesn't mind getting, you know what I'm saying, their hands dirty, you can run it with that guy. The rewards are going to be infinite, right? Because now when you run jet sweep with that guy, these guys can't just haul butt because they don't know if it's jet sweep or if he's coming to trap. So they have to sit and at least read first before they go. And now you've got your speed demon guy running this jet sweep, and these guys are already a step behind because they had to sit and wait to see if it's trapped. So yet another way to run that influence where you can get the desired outcome with your blocking scheme, because you always want to make sure that you're sound when it comes to blocking. Obviously, we're not worried about this defensive end. Why not? Because as soon as he pulls this way, this guy has to come upfield to make sure that he doesn't get hooked and it's not a buck sweep. So because they have rules in their defense, that allows us to continue to stress the person that I love to stress the most. That's the money guy, that 3 technique, or if it's the 4 tech, if they're in a 30 front, whoever it is, we want to make sure we're stressing that money guy. That's why he's in green. So that's it. Just a couple ways to diversify what you do in the trap game. Remember, if you run trap, if that's one of the staples of your run game, then you need to have more wrinkles to add in because you want to keep that defense off track as much as possible. So always a good thing to be able to play around, do some things in theory that you believe might work, and then put them into practice. The worst thing that happens is that you find out it doesn't work and you don't spend any more time on it. But what you might find is a gem. And that's where everything comes in. That's the science of football coaching. That's the science of X and O's. It's the science of game planning. It's the trial and error. It's a lot of what they do in the scientific world. And so don't ever count us short as far as our intellect or what we do and how we game plan. That's what X and O's to Joe's is all about. As always, we need your support. We need you to subscribe to the channel. We need you to support what we're doing. We know you're watching. Like I said before, over 90, maybe it's like 80-something% now of the views that we get on our videos are all from people who are not subscribers. That means that you have an opportunity. You subscribe. Get your staff to subscribe. Get your homeboy to subscribe. Anybody that's interested in football, there's something here for them. We don't just teach this at the Mensa level of football. We break it down so that everybody can understand it, which means that you can run it with your youth team, your high school team, your college team. It really doesn't matter. So for X and O's to Joe's, I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Make sure you stay tuned. And before I go, tomorrow I've got a special thing going on. I am going to be going live on YouTube for the draft. I'm going to have various personalities and newspaper writers and radio show personalities and different writers for different online publications from around the country joining me to talk about the first round and their selections of the various teams. I'm also going to have a way for you guys to reach out and come join my meeting so that you can talk to me about what you think about the picks from some of your favorite teams. So make sure that if you don't want to just watch the same old bland NFL draft that might be on ESPN or NFL Network, or even if you do, put your TV on NFL Network, ESPN, turn your computer on and join me, have your phone so you can text with your homeboys, and now everything is great. So until then, until tomorrow evening when I join you for the NFL draft, I've been Coach Gene Clemens, X and O's to Joe's. Y'all have a great day.